just to start, like, I love everything about you. You're a family man. You're a baseball player. You're always just trying to get better. That's what Keep Swinging is about. Jose Cuas, big leaguer. Dude, you're the man. Thank you for hopping on. And guys, if you hear any babies in the background or kids running around or dogs barking, that's one of the both of us.
Honor to be here with you. The background could get a little feisty in a few minutes with the kids.
No, I love it. And one of the things that people first see when they take a look at your social media profiles is that in the bio, it says chasing progress. I just recorded with Nick Martinez, and one of the things that he always talks about is hard to kill. Being hard to kill. And you with Chasing Progress, I feel like you guys should just start naming all of these episodes, because Chasing Progress, or even just as a podcast, video podcast show, would be a sweet title.
Yeah, definitely. It's something my brother created, and I loved it from the minute he mentioned it to me. And it's pretty much, I'm not chasing success. I'm chasing progress. I'm chasing, being better every single day, whether it's 1% better or whatever the case may be, just being better every single day. If I chase success, how do I evaluate my failure? How much pressure am I going to put on myself, where I have to be successful, where I have to succeed. And it's something that I don't want to do it. So I feel like chasing progress, even though I may have a tough outing or a tough couple of days, I'm chasing progress. I'm chasing to get better off of those outings.
Dude, you've been doing exactly that. You literally won an award that's given out by Major League Baseball that recognizes that devotion, that always getting better, everything, going through adversity. Throughout your entire career, you got recognized at the highest level of what you do, your profession as a big league pitcher. So that just says a lot about you, and that's one of the reasons why I had you on. And we'll talk about the FedEx gig that you had too, but there's so many different places where we can start, but I like to start with everybody just kind of going back to the beginning, because we all know that you're a Brooklyn dude, Brooklyn, New York, but born in Dominican Republic. How long were you there for?
Well, I was only there for 2 months, 3 months, give or take.
So all right. So basically,
born there. My parents moved out to the States, to New York, when I was about 3 months, and I've been here ever since.
All right. See, that's something that a lot of people don't know, because everybody, like, when they see the back of the baseball card, they see Dominican Republic, and it's just 2 months.
Some people hear my English and they're like, "Whoa, you speak English?" I'm like, "Yeah."
And then that's in Brooklyn, right? Williamsburg the entire time, or did you move around a little bit?
No. At first we lived in Ridgewood, Queens. We moved to East New York, which is pretty much where I became a man. It's not one of the nicest neighborhoods. Definitely somewhere easy to get caught up in trouble. But I think baseball helped keep me on the line, my brother and I. And I'm grateful for my parents, grateful for everyone who kept us, on that straight line, because it's very easy to get caught up there.
Yeah, and it all started with the slipper, using a slipper to play baseball. Some just laying around the house.
Yeah. So our whole apartment was the railroad. So it was living room, bedroom, kitchen. So it was like all in one. So we would play from one room. Second base would be 2 rooms down. And I mean, our neighbors hated us. They would call my mom, please, I can't, my head is going to blow up. And I'm like, well, simmer down a little bit.
So there was you and your brother Alex, you said, right? So he was always your right hand growing up. Just that dude. I mean, he played baseball at Towson also, so he always loved baseball too. So just those beginnings, being in at home in a railroad apartment, playing baseball with a slipper, just having fun, making the best of the situation that you have. Being born in the Dominican Republic and coming over to the United States, you were beginning to write your story right then.
Oh, definitely. I didn't know what kind of story I was writing, because my dream was, from the minute baseball was introduced to me, was that I would be a major league shortstop for the Yankees. I idolized Derek Jeter, someone that I still to this day, I'm looking for the moment to meet him. Like, I want to meet him just to say thank you, because I fell in love with the game because of him. And yeah, my brother, we just try to have fun, and even now, where I am right now, I try to keep that same mindset of have fun. It's a privilege to be here. Having people yell my name and cheer for me, having fans. It's all new to me, and it's like, wow, like, people actually look up to what I'm doing. So I try to make sure I keep, my foot on the ground, and make sure I keep motivating those people, because at the end of the day, it's for the fans that we do this.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more about just always kind of staying the same, and realizing that, not getting too much of a big head, because now, especially even more so than ever, you're in a position where there are a lot of people looking up to you, not just your kids. You know, there's a lot of people out there who see your story, they know your story, about to learn the story probably right now if you're listening, watching this, that are really going to be taken back by just the drive and the persistence that you had, because you started playing baseball, of course, in New York. And then when you got to high school, you were still playing baseball, obviously, but as a position player. And you went to the same high school that Dylan Betances went to, former big league pitcher. So you're right there in New York, in the heart of it. You mentioned Derek Jeter. You just wanted to be him growing up. So you were a shortstop in high school, which a lot
Yep.
of people don't really know. I've listened to a lot of interviews with you, and a lot of people were kind of asking, "Oh, were you always a sidearm pitcher growing up?" But like, nah, you were a shortstop.
You told me 10 years ago I'd be in the big leagues as a pitcher, I would laugh and be like, what are you talking about? But yeah, it's something, it's a game where the older I got, I had to realize that it's a game of adjustments. Whether it's adjusting pitch to pitch, whether it's adjusting to a new position, in which in my case, I had to adjust to a completely different position. I didn't know nothing about a position that I never saw myself at. And my time clock was ticking. My clock was, I had to figure it out quick. I was getting older. I was never a prospect for any of these organizations. So my clock was ticking. Every pitch was the last pitch I was in. My mindset was every pitch was the last pitch I was going to make. And that mindset helped lead to my debut.
Yeah, which you're starting to look more and more like a pitcher. I've seen some of these old interviews that you had during high school in Maryland. You got the shortstop swag, and now you're starting to bring a little bit of that onto the mound, but you're slowly morphing into a pitcher. No, but dude, like you said, just every day you just have to give it your all. And you got drafted in 2012 in the 40th round. There's not even a 40th round anymore that exists in the Major League Baseball draft. So nobody's ever going to be able to do that again. And that just kind of goes to show, like you said, you weren't a prospect. You weren't on a lot of people's radar, but you went after it every single day.
Yes, I grinded. So high school for me was a little, after my freshman year, I had a little fame. I was one of the better guys in the city. So I had a little, the clout that kids look for nowadays. I mean, it was important to make sure that didn't get to my head. I had to make sure that, like I told you, like I said previously, any day could be a last day. So I grinded and grinded. So when I did hit adversity, I had an idea of how to handle it.
And it brought you to Maryland, where you played baseball there. You're an infielder. Like I said before, your brother Alex, he was over at Towson. So it's kind of cool that you guys both kind of ended up in the same area to play college baseball. But it wasn't until 2015 when you got drafted again, this time by the Milwaukee Brewers. And I remember it. I remember seeing the headlines because you got drafted in a pretty good rounder,
Yes.
definitely much higher than the first time
Yeah.
around. So you're getting on some people's maps. But I just remember it because it was like, oh, this kid from Brooklyn, New York, this kid from New York, he got drafted and he could be the next whatever you want to call it. Like, there's always that feel-good story, especially with the Northeast kids, because it's like, it's almost like we're at an disadvantage because of the cold weather months and everything. But yeah, people from New York really take a liking to their guys, and you're one of them, and you just have this great, what you think is going to be a career as a position player in 2015, and then you kind of got I don't know, you start one thing, you think it's going to go a certain way, and it ends up completely different.
Exactly. So when I signed in 2015, I went to Advanced Rookie League in Helena, Montana. That was something of its own.
You're probably like Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny.
Yes, you sure this is pro ball? But it was a pretty good year. I had a pretty good year that year, 2015. They skipped me a level for 2016, sent me to high A, and that's where, things went downhill. I wasn't used to playing that many games. It's a 142 game season in a Florida State league where it's humid, it's hot, you sweat, you have rain day in and day out. And it was a tough league that I mentally was not prepared for. It's a league where I thought I had what it takes, like physically, I thought I was ready. I could say, yeah, I was ready. But the mental toll it took on me was just insane. And it was day in and day out. And when I look at my numbers and they're not trending in the right direction. And then the Brewers are drafting infielders early on in top rounds. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to be left behind. And in 2017, after that season, I called my agent, called my brother. I'm like, hey, I'm not a priority here. There's a lot of guys ahead of me. What do you think about pitching? My arm feels good. Let's give it a shot before we hang it up. And they agreed. They called GM and he said, yeah, we'll try him out. And from that point, my offseason was different. I'm training as a pitcher and I'm feeling pain in parts of my body that I didn't know I had. I'm like, this pitching stuff might not be for me. Like, I don't, but I grinded. It was a grind from that point on.
What was it then that really kind of made you even think about just becoming a pitcher? You know, was it kind of like you still wanting to be involved in baseball? Was it like, hey, let's try something new? I love new challenges. What was it? Because again, there's a lot of people who start something and then maybe they find out that it's not what they love, or maybe they're not as good as it as they thought that they would, and they want to change career paths. And this goes to anything, not just in baseball, but just in life in general. So, kind of what was it, and because it's got to be hard for you to give up what you're used to doing to do something completely new at this highest level. So, like, what was it?
Well, for me, it was easy. It's my dream, my goal was always to reach the big leagues. Didn't matter how. Didn't matter if it was as a pitcher, as a coach, as anything. And I was going to give myself every single shot possible. And that's the mindset that when I hit the adversity, I hit multiple times throughout my career. That will to want to reach the big leagues, that drive was so strong that I didn't care what situation I had to deal with.
Dude, that's this type of stuff that doesn't show up on the back of a baseball card. You know what I mean? Like you said, you weren't putting up good numbers as a position player, but there's nothing that could measure that heart or that drive, and there's nothing that was going to stop you from reaching your goals. And when I was recording with Nick Martinez, we were talking about how he went over to Japan to go play baseball, and a lot of people go there towards the end of their career. They don't think they're ever going to come back. For you, you ended up going to play for the Long Island Ducks in independent league baseball, which that's pretty much the case there too. I mean, a lot of guys do get signed, but very rarely will they get signed, make it to the big leagues, exactly like you did. So you went there because you kept on getting released, and you ended up meeting Francisco Rodriguez, who literally pretty much changed your life in a way, right? So you have one call that changed your life, and then you have one situation with one person who then changed your life even more. It was a snowball effect.
That boost of confidence he gave me. From the first pitch he saw me throw, he told me, hey, you have a big league arm. Once I heard that, from a guy like K-Rod, who's a vet, who's seen all kinds of pitchers in the big leagues, sidearm, over the top, all these different pitchers, to tell me something like that, I'm like, okay, well, I have what it takes. Okay, so let's go. And I called my brother. I'm like, listen, this offseason is going to be different. So 2018, after that Long Island Duck season, I had to get a job because I had my son, and I didn't make money in the minor leagues. It's tough to save $1 in the minors because you're living check to check.
And what did Francisco Rodriguez tell you about anybody who gets on a first base? Because it all kind of ties in the last sentence that you just said.
He told me, he's like, listen, you have what it takes to be a star in the big leagues. Not just a pitcher. I have what it takes to be a star because of the angle I was thrown from, because of the movement, because of the velocity was, at that time, submariners or sidearmers were 87, 88. At that time, I was touching 90, 91, which is pretty hard, pretty firm. Every day, he would tell me, hey, the same exact thing. He pretty much took me under his wing.
And he told you, anybody who reaches first base is trying to take food off your kid's plate.
That's the one thing that I still think about. Anyone that reaches first base is taking food from your kid's plate. And he, when he said that, I wanted to jump through a wall. And that mindset that, I'm like, what? Every time I'm on that mound, I'm like, listen, my kid's got to eat. And no one is going to take food away from their plate. To this day, that's what's going to keep me, grounded. That mindset right there is going to keep me, hungry. Whether things are going well, whether I'm hitting a struggle, that mindset of, listen, my kids need to eat. This was going to keep me on attack at all times.
Dude, now I feel like I want to run through a wall. I'm sure everybody listening to this, watching this, feeling the same way. I got the chills I show you, but I got the hoodie on. Everybody watching this, I'm sure you can see that. But dude, you're firing me up right now. I absolutely love this. Is like, dude, just that mentality, and not everybody has that. A lot of people probably go to the independent leagues and kind of sulk their head, wishing that they were in the big leagues, kind of sulk their head thinking it's the end of the career. But no, you're like, this is actually the beginning of mine. Like you said, Francisco Rodriguez, former big league pitcher, one of the best ever relief pitchers, hundreds of saves, all-star, you name it. And he gives you that vote of confidence. When I had on Micah Johnson, who's a former big leaguer, he eventually turned into an artist after his big league career. And what caused him to kind of be an artist, or at least take that step, was the Dodgers. They used to have this thing where Dave Roberts would kind of have everybody in the clubhouse, at least who's new to the team, show off some of their talents, or at least just challenge them to do something different. And he did a piece of art, and he really liked it. Looking back, he'll say that it's not nothing special, it's nothing good, but Dave Roberts and his entire team, everybody in the clubhouse, was just giving him that one vote of confidence, and that's all it took. He ended up making millions as an artist. He actually said that his post-baseball career was better and succeeded his baseball career especially in the short amount of time that it did. So it just all it takes is that
one moment, one person to tell you something to where, it resonates with you. You feel like, oh, that's me. The shoe fits right here. And that's all it took for me. That's all it took for me to, regardless, I dealt with adversity a lot. From the FedEx, from 2018, signing in 2019 with the Diamondbacks, where I'm thinking, okay, we're on the right track now. Have a great year. COVID hits. I get released again. So it's like, all right, I mean, what else could go wrong? It's like I'm doing my part. I put up great numbers with the Diamondbacks. What's going on? Like, what? Once again, my family was there telling me, hey, don't forget your goal. Don't forget your dream. Your dream has always been to be in the big leagues.
it's almost comical the amount of things that happen over a period of time. We're just like, man, this guy, oh, just got this, or oh, this happened. But there's one person too that I obviously definitely have to make mention of it. And if anybody goes and YouTube's or does any sort of research on you, they always see your brother right next to you. I know he's at MLB Network with you in so many different places, and he was that guy who you touched on before. And we'll do a quick little rewind. But when you were working at FedEx, you would work from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night, and he was always there with you after at the ballpark underneath the lights. You're going to tell it much better than I would. I feel like I kind of blew some of the details right there, but dude.
Well, that's what it took. Obviously, everyone knows New York is not the ideal place to train for baseball. We don't produce many baseball players, many big leaguers. But that's something I didn't think about. That's something listen, why not me? That's how I look at it. Why not me? No one's ever done this. Okay, why not me? It's always the first time. And with the FedEx thing, my brother, I was up at 6 in the morning every day. And it was during peak. So it was long hours. I wouldn't get back to the terminal until 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I would call him, hey, we're at the park? Yep. We're at the park. Sometimes, 20, 30 degrees. But I didn't let that affect me. Like, I was so devoted to reaching the big leagues that any condition was beautiful for me. For me, it was like, it's an honor to be in this. It's an honor to throw in the one light bulb. It's an honor to have to work all day and then train at night, day in and day out, so I could provide for my family, but also pursue my dreams. But it didn't bother me. If I could do it again, I would do it again.
Could you imagine how much better of a world this place would be if everybody had that mindset? It's an honor to do this. I get to do this. I get to do that. It's an
Yes.
honor. Why not me? Why can't it be me? And 6 to 8, 6 to 9, you said. And when you'd get out, it's just crazy because I know Alex had put this to you one way at some point, which was when you get to the big leagues, you're going to be a relief pitcher. And this is when you're actually going to be coming into pitch around that 9 o'clock hour, which is exactly what happened. So it's like, dude, you might as well get used to it now. And there's a lot of people listening to this who may be chasing down their dreams or writing down goals that they want to get to. And if it's 20 degrees out, they might say, hey, it's too cold. I can't go outside today. And then next thing you know, that snowball affects into not doing it the next day, to not doing it the next day. But you had that focus, that determination that a lot of people don't have. And hopefully anybody listening, watching this, they kind of start to instill that a little bit into them, because you are the perfect example of not letting anything that you can't control what you're actually doing, whether it's pitching at 9 o'clock after a 15-hour shift at FedEx in 20-degree weather underneath one light bulb. You're going to make it happen. And one thing that I want to talk about with you too, with working at FedEx, is that when we had met, I was telling you this because I was so jazzed up, I was so hyped, is that a lot of people, I haven't really talked about this that much, but a lot of people don't really know, or at least unless you're close to me, too much about my background and my story. But from 2005 until 2013, I was doing a lot of freelance work, but it was mainly just a lot of content creation and just going to the baseball field anytime that I could. But like you said, so I'm 16 at this point, whatever, when I started this, so junior in high school. But like you said, you have to still pay the bills. You have to provide. So you could do all the fun stuff, but you also have to make sure that you're getting that paycheck. So a lot of times I would open up a deli at home called Talercio's in Middletown, New Jersey. One of the best delis. I'd get there 7, 8 o'clock. I'd stay there till about 4:30, and then I'd walk right next door, and I would work at the gym front desk from 5 o'clock, and I would close it at 10. And I would spend that 30 minutes that I had in the middle of the day just to shower at the gym in the shower. And then I would start the day. I did that. I would do like 40 plus hours between Sunday and Wednesday, whatever it was. And then I'd spend that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'd spend it at the ballpark. So I try to make whatever cash that I could. And I would also just try to just support my dream any way that I possibly could. Spend all my money going to the gas station. But that's what it takes. And a lot of people don't really know that. But again, like, It doesn't matter if it's FedEx, if it's at a deli, if it's at whatever. Those are great careers. You could do that. That's an
Yeah,
awesome career. Point being is that you have to provide and support any way that you possibly can while chasing down your passion, your dream, and don't let a situation take you away from that. Dude, I'm
exactly.
fired up. Let's go, baby. Dude, I'm
Exactly.
jazzed up.
That's exactly how it
Dude,
is.
I'm hyped.
That's how I think now. I'm like, yes, everyone's I have the feel good story, a beautiful story, or you know, guy who persevered and did all these things. But it's like to me, that's over with already. Now it's time to be known as one of the most dominant pitchers in the big league. I don't settle. I'm not content with reaching the big leagues. Because the same way you walk in, the door to walk out is bigger. Now it's time for me to become that guy in the bullpen. Ryan to be that guy. Oh, that's the FedEx guy. No, that's it's one of the best pitchers in the big leagues.
Yes. All right. Now, there's two things that I do want to talk about that though with FedEx is that life lessons. You had to have learned something. I definitely got thick skin by working behind the counter at at the deli with just certain personalities that would walk in. At the gym, it was a lot of always having that kind of like I always have a friendly face on. I feel like I'm never really too much in a bad mood, but like if somebody walks in the door, hey, how's it going? Make sure you say hi to people. It doesn't matter what it is, just always say hi. You could be at the cash register, cashing out at Stop and Shop. Say hello to whoever's working, ask them how the day's going. But just little lessons like that. What were some of those things that you learned that you still take to this day? Because I know for a fact I think about stuff when I was working at the deli and at the gym probably 10 times a day.
Well, for me, I learned so many things. I mean,
It's like, where do I start?
yeah. So I dealt with people in FedEx, with customers. So, my goal is how can I make this person's day better? You never know whose life you could change. Sometimes a hello, good morning goes a long way. So I wanted to leave my impact there. So in FedEx, I wanted to be known as, hey, this guy, everyone loves him. Now in pro ball, at the big league level, I want to be that same guy to someone that, wow, he works hard, he's determined, but he's a lovable guy. He's a guy everyone wants in his corner. Everyone wants to talk to Jose Cuas. Everyone wants to do an interview with Jose Cuas. It's a guy that, yes, has a powerful story, but just someone that you want to be around. And that's me. Like I'm a guy that's been told I don't take pressure. I'm trying to be as happy as I can, regardless of what's going on outside of that environment. I try to always walk around with a smile on my face. And that's something I learned through FedEx. Like it's not fun to wake up at 6 a.m. and go deliver packages in 20-degree weather. But it's also not the customer's fault that that's my job. So why not embrace what I'm going through and make the most of it? Because look now, I can talk about those good days in FedEx as opposed to me saying, hey, yeah, those were the worst days of my life. No, I enjoyed it. Is it what I wanted to do? No, but I made the most of it.
And like you said, you wouldn't change it for a thing. I
No.
still say that too about the past. I wouldn't change anything for a thing. Dude, you come in through the door, I'm gonna make you the best sandwich ever. I'm gonna slice you the meanest cold cuts when you're at the gym. I'm gonna try to pump you up when you walk through that door because I already know it took a lot for you to get here. And dude, we're perfect examples of just making the most of every situation. And then once you get to that level, you get even hungrier because
Exactly.
now you're saying to yourself, the contrast, like the other side of stuff. You know everything that it took you to get to this point.
Yes.
So when you're there, yeah, and guys, what Jose was saying too, definitely is you have a contagious personality, smile on your face. Um, I've never seen you in a bad mood from any of my research or being with you, just in a good mood and just the way that you've handled everything has been so crazy because between FedEx and making your big league debut, like you said before, you had gotten cut by it was the Diamondbacks, right?
Yes. 2020, right when COVID hit.
Throw that into the mix. It's just like nonstop. This dude's getting beat down, but nothing's stopping him.
Yes, exactly. And I think of that now. Sometimes you have a bad outing and you start questioning yourself. And it's like, hey, you went through so much to get to this point, and you're gonna let one bad outing make you doubt yourself. And that's something my brother's huge on. He'll call me, hey, what are you thinking of right now? And I'm like, no, just had a rough out. He's like, flush it, it's done. Go back out to the mall, do what you do. And that kept me on the move. It kept me positive. It kept me, all right, let's go. It's my turn now. Let's go.
Dude, that's unbelievable. So many people would have to work so hard at that just to have that mentality and mindset. Did you have to go to anybody or was it always just your brother? Like how did you constantly work on yourself?
Well, with everything I've been through, just that itself, you learn from there. I don't know if I would have the same mindset had I not gone through what I went through. you have to be pretty tough-minded to work all day and go hit up a baseball field in 20-degree weather every day. Like, yeah, you can say, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. It's one thing to say it, it's one thing to do it. You know, I didn't say it, I did it. Day in and day out. There was no excuse. I didn't create, oh, no, it's too cold today, it was raining. No. One day wasted is one day that could have made the difference. You know, maybe something clicks that day. You know, maybe my slider, I'm trying to do this and that. Maybe that day that I didn't feel so good to go outside and throw, that's the day that I throw the nastiest slider and it clicks. And now that slider is the nastiest slider in baseball for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's the stuff that I've been through.
Dude, I love it. So a couple things that I want to talk about before we get into your MLB debut, and I'm looking down because at some point I'm going to reference your numbers. I'm not a big stat guy, but I'm going to read them off. It's probably going to be the only time that I even mention them. But there's your brother. There's so many people like we were talking about before, K-Rod. And one thing that you said before too that is just awesome because you're essentially kind of like a sponge, right? But you're not just a sponge who's taking all this stuff in. You're a sponge taking it in and applying. Like you've said before that you like to take bits of everybody and just build your own project, which is Jose Cuas.
Exactly.
So you're continuing to do that after FedEx throughout that time in the minors because you're coming across so many different people. You could see what works from K-Rod. All right, I'm going to take that trait from
Yeah.
K-Rod. You could see what trait you like from your brother. All right, I'm going to take that. You could see, like you said, making somebody's day by saying hello to them from FedEx. You're building this superhero.
Exactly. So you never know. Like what, you know, I tell my brother, I tell kids to this day, I do a lot of giving back where I talk to kids, and I tell them, listen, if one of you guys gave me an advice, I would listen. Because what if that's the advice that changes my life? I don't think there's an age on advice. I don't think there's a gender or you can get the best advice from some of the people whoa, I didn't see that coming. So I don't close that door. But I'm open-minded to anything. I'm open to any advice. I don't think any advice is bad advice.
Yeah, and it could be verbal and it could also be visual as well. I mean, you're a father and you love your kids so much. I don't want to steal this line out of your mouth, but what you've said about your son, about what he wants to make sure that he knows what daddy isn't.
Exactly. I want my son to, when he's older and he's of age, to understand, what he wants to do in life. I'm a prime example of you can achieve whatever you want. Had I quit, what example would I be setting for my kids? I have to be okay with now them quitting because I did it. That's what they saw growing up. So I want to make sure my kids can look back, read the story, watch the videos, and say, wow, we're living this life. We're doing what we do now because daddy didn't give up. And that's going to be the biggest honor for me.
And your wife who said, go out, chase your dreams. Don't worry about finances. Your dad was also huge into sport too with you. And now just kind of really put a timeline on this. 2012, again, you get drafted the 40th round of the MLB draft. 2015, you eventually get drafted again. And now we are in 2022. You've been a professional baseball player as a position player, as a pitcher, and you've been released a bunch of times. You've been cut. You've been all these different things, working different jobs, just trying to make ends meet. In 2022, my man gets the call after just dominating the minor league levels.
Yes.
Cheers, baby. Let's go. I mean, I know I told you before, I'm proud of you, but dude, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It was a great day. That day we got in from a road trip. We had a red-eye flight in Omaha, and we get in from Louisville, and I'm getting ready to go take a nap. So we got back at 11 o'clock. Call my fiance, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take a nap. I'll call you when I get up. Then I get this call from a Kansas City number. I don't like picking up phone calls where I don't have your number saved. And I threw my phone down, and something told me, hey, answer it. Like, you don't know who it is. I'm like, whatever. So I pick up, and it's a AAA manager. And he's like, hey, I need you to get to the stadium right now. I'm like, why? He's like, oh, you're going to Cleveland. But everything was happening so fast that I didn't understand what was going on. If I got called up or, we had the taxi squad thing going on with the COVID. And I'm like, okay, am I getting called up? He's like, I don't know what's going on. Just you need to come to the stadium right now. Don't pack anything. Everything will be there for you. All right, so I call my family. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to the big leagues. I don't know. But be on the lookout. I'll let you guys know. Hey, did you get the call? I'm like, what call? He's like, you're going to the big leagues. And I'm okay. Hold on, I'm getting called up for real, or I'm on a taxi squad. He goes, no, 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 you're getting called up. And I went numb. I call my family. I'm like, listen, you guys need to get on a flight to Cleveland tomorrow. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but figure it out and get out there as soon as possible. And I got to the stadium. I get to Cleveland.
It was the third inning, right?
Yeah, I got there on the third inning, and I'm so lost. I'm so in awe, like just looking around, like, all right, I mean, where's the player entrance? I'm a player now. So Travis comes out, finds me. He's like, hey, come on, let's go. I don't know. They were short a guy in the bullpen. So I'm like, all right. So I run in there, I get dressed, and everything's just happening so fast. So I don't really have time to process anything. And I, go to the dugout. I say hi to Matheny, say hi to Eldred, the staff, and they're like, hey, congratulations. Get to the bullpen. I'm like, oh, this is serious. And like look brighter than ever. I'm just like, wow, this is like I'm here. I got to the bullpen. I sat there. I'm looking at myself with a uniform, looking around. Like, hey, yeah, this real. And somehow everything played out perfect to where I warmed up to pitch that day, but I didn't come in. My family wasn't in yet, so everything just played out perfect. The next day, Skip tells me, hey, I'm glad you didn't pitch last night. I want your family to be a part of this moment. And when I get the call, Cuas, get hot. My glove was on my feet, but I was so nervous. I couldn't find my glove when I got up. I'm like, oh my God. Like, don't make it obvious, but I mean, you look lost. So I find my glove, I get up, I start throwing. I'm completely numb. I get down, go down those stairs, and I'm just like, all right, don't fall. There's a camera guy the whole time recording me going down the stairs.
You envisioned doing interviews growing up, but you probably didn't envision a camera guy following you right up your butt.
So I'm running, I'm looking up, and I'm like, the mound is getting further and further. I'm like, all right, so I'm not gonna make it. So I finally get on the mound. Skip gives me the ball. He's like, hey, enjoy this moment. Congratulations. Salvi gives me a boost of confidence. Tells me, hey, same thing you've done in the minors. Enjoy this moment. This is your moment. And after I threw that first pitch, it was like, all right, let's go. It's go time. And it was an unreal experience. It's something that I would never forget, never take for granted. And thankful for my teammates. They made it easier for me. In the clubhouse, I didn't know we didn't have to wash our dinner plates, so we get actual plates. You don't have to wash it. You just put it to the side in the bin, and they wash it. Eating 5-star steaks, and I'm like, wow, what's going on here? I like this. And they just kept saying, wow, like looking at your face makes us happy because they said I look like a kid at a toy store.
And I'm sure for them just watching you, right? All your teammates, everybody there, it's almost like you're kind of reminding them how special it is to be a professional baseball player. They're so used to it. They're in it every single day, but they're reminded by you. They're reminded by you how much they love what they do for a career because they see you smiling and they're probably saying to themselves, this is why I'm doing this. This is what it's all about.
And Carlos Santana, while he was there, he's like, Cuas, don't lose that. Don't lose that smile, that drive you have, the drive that got you here. Because in the big leagues, it's easy to get caught up. It's easier to get comfortable. And once you get comfortable, the game speeds up and kicks you out. And they kept reminding me that every day, hey, keep doing it. Keep that energy, that smile, that drive. People look at you and want to be around you. You bring positive energy, and that's something that I try to pride myself on now. Just being a positive guy, having that positive energy, even when things aren't going so well.
In baseball, that's kind of hard to do too because not everybody's upbeat, not everybody's whatever. There's going to be somebody who's going to see you and be like, this guy does not stop smiling. I don't like him. There's always going to be those type of people. So the fact that you're able to continue to, even with the haters or whatever, seeing how happy you are, it's like you're always going to be you. You're never going to change. And what I love so much about your story and what you just shared with everybody is that, of course, out of every big league team and every big league stadium that you could go to, not that the movie was shot there, but the same colors, you're seeing a lot of similar logos and color schemes and everything, was the Cleveland Guardians. And growing up, you probably watched Major League. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this and watching this watch Major League. So it's even more like, holy shit, my life's a movie. Yeah. Like it's like, is this real? What's going on? I know you said you're numb. I know you said you couldn't find your glove, and I was thinking that maybe the warming up with the day that you got there would have gotten out some of the jitters, but maybe not so much. But like, it's literally like a movie. Like, dude, you are in no pun intended. You're in Major League in the majors. It's a movie. You're probably going to actually have a movie about you, at least at some point. No, it has to be as part of that story, and I'm sure it will. Guys, get this. When Jose did get into the game, you struck out the first batter. All right, ring him up, baby. Nice little punchy.
Yeah.
Then the next two batters, they both grounded out to you. Like, dude, you literally got all 3 outs.
Yeah, yes. And Salvi just kept saying, hey, you're nasty. You're nasty.
Oh, and hey, by the way, guys, struck out Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Ring him up. Literally, quite possibly the best player of at least our generation, and who knows, maybe of all time if he continues this.
Yes.
So you got that. And then there's also, you got a chance to play at Yankee Stadium, the stadium in your backyard. You grew up watching Derek Jeter. I mean, dude, it's literally a movie.
That was a surreal
E60 at the least. E60 at the least.
That weekend was nuts for me. You know, just so much emotion, so many emotions going on. You know, a lot of people waiting to interview me. The kid is back home, and it's like, wow, like this is it. Like I'm a star. I'm a star of the show right now. You know, no one could tell me I would be in this position a couple years ago. And, you know, when I got in the game to pitch, it starts pouring. It's raining. And I'm like, you know, this is just my story. It wouldn't be my story if I didn't have to pitch through some crazy condition. You know, and after I came out the game gets late. That's how heavy and bad the rain was. But I'm like, that's just my story. That's just, it wasn't all sunshine. It was the furthest thing from sunshine. And here we are at Yankee Stadium pitching, and it's pouring. And what better way to complete the story than that?
Dude, I got the biggest smile on my face right now. I was thinking that same thing too when I was watching all the highlights. I was like, because I was watching the game at the time on TV. And then when I was doing all the research and just making sure I was all set, ready to go, because I'm very much like yourself. I always want to be prepared. I don't want to have to worry about anything. I just want to have everything ready, all set to go. And I was like, damn, holy shit, it's raining. Like, this is nuts. Like that could be like, well, it won't be the final scene as in the bigger picture, but
that's
a
a big
movie for the E60. Like, that is it. And again, like Ohtani too, dude. You struck out Shohei Ohtani. What?
That was nuts. Like facing guys like Ohtani, Correa, you know, Javi Baez, and all these big stars. Like it's like, wow, like it's still this. I still have moments where I have to like go like this to wake up. Like, hey, this is real. Like, this is you. You're a big leaguer. Because it's still, you know, sometimes I sit back and just go through the steps that it took to get to where I am, and it's like everything was stacked against you. There's no way you did that.
Exactly what you were just saying too about like bits and that have happened, and you kind of just build this entire project. You could even include Albert Pujols in this, because when you were playing in the Winter League, you got to face Albert Pujols, and now it's like, so even though Shohei Ohtani and all these guys are like, oh my God, this is amazing, it's also like, I've done this before. I've been here before. This is where I belong.
Exactly.
I'm gonna strike you dudes out.
This is where I belong. You cannot tell me different. No one can tell me different. I'm a big leaguer, and I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy. Like, I'm 100% confident. The same confidence I had that I would reach the big leagues, it's the same confidence I have now that I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be known as not only the field goal story, but this guy's he's nasty.
Dude, perfect segue. He is so nasty, and this is the part I was telling you about where I'm actually going to read my notes, because I got to read these stats off because I'm not a big stat guy. But at that moment, you're 27 years old, just made it to the big leagues. You end up going 4-2 with the 3.58 ERA, tied on the team for 4th most appearances among Royals relievers, and you're one of the best at escaping jams in all of baseball. And through your first 5 seasons as a pitcher in professional baseball, you went 22-10, 2.48 ERA, all in relief, 213 strikeouts, and 228.2 innings pitched. And you barely walk people or give up the long ball. So, yeah.
That's new to me. You know, I had a rough stretch with walking guys last year, but that's not me. That's what I'm not. I wasn't worried about him. You know what? Flush it. I throw strikes. You're going to have to hit me. Like, I'm going to challenge you. Hit me.
I like also, too, how you said that you just don't want to – you love being the feel-good story, but you don't want to just be the FedEx guy, right? It's almost like that's that next kind of motivation that you have because you don't want to be labeled as the FedEx guy. It's a great feel good story, but it's that motivation.
Yes, exactly. That's it. My goal at first, reach the big leagues. I'm there now. What's my new goal? Become that guy. The feel good story, yes, it's amazing. You know, I hope my story motivates people all over the world, whether it's through sports, whether it's a job, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be baseball specific or sport. You know, anything you want to achieve in life. Like, I hope my story motivates people to go pursue their dreams and whatever it is they want to do. But in the baseball world, I'm not going to be known as that story. I'm going to be known as he's that guy in the bullpen. He's a guy that when he comes in the game, strap up, enjoy the show.
Dude, yes, sir. And like you said in that viral social media post, life takes many turns. This is just another one of them, dude. And if something along the lines comes your way where it's not as you like, well, who better for that to happen to because you are well equipped. You got the mindset, you got the drive, you got the focus, you got the family who's still young, so they're gonna just get older. You're gonna want to keep on dicing dudes up and and just having a good dad impression. And I guess kind of to wrap up this main part, all of this hard work, and I mentioned this at the very beginning of this, but all of it was recognized by Major League Baseball when you won the award that exemplifies the most perseverance, devotion, everything on and off the field through all different types of adversity. I mean, does it get any better than that?
No, that was a huge honor. I had no idea about the award. I actually had to look up, what the award was. Reading the story of, of the award and seeing the guys who won the award. Like, it's an honor to be named into that. It shows that people know my story. People know who I am. They know what I've been through. They know what I'm going through. They know what I'm doing, and that's big for me. Because I was a couple of years ago, no one knew what I was up to. I didn't have social media. That's the one thing I gave us. Listen, I don't want social media. I don't want no one to know what's going on with me. Jose Cuas is just a regular guy. So when I reached the big leagues, that I created my social media, it became this big. Oh my God! I always knew you'd make it. And it's like, all right, I know my circle. And that's why
Yeah.
I family on social media. Like, it's just I keep social media for fans, and you're gonna see what goes on the baseball field. You're not gonna see what goes on in my private life.
Yeah, I'm so bad with text messages sometimes because I kind of have that same mindset where I'm just like, all right, it's kind of strange. I don't really hear it from you too much after college. Now all this stuff is going on, like, so
People are,
I know exactly what you're talking about. You keep your circle tight.
yeah, 100%.
You always want to learn and you always want to get better. So even though you're at the top of your game, you're at the literally the best level possible. It's like this, it's not so much of a perfectionist. It's almost like I don't even call it a sickness either, but it kind of to us always want to get better. It
Yeah,
kind of is because you're just like, all right, I'm here. All right, now let me keep on getting better. You're always
yes.
hungry and never content.
Remember, my kids got to eat. That mindset does not change. Whether things are going well or not going well, or I'm the greatest pitcher of all time, or I'm not, or whatever the case may be, my kids have to eat. In order for my kids to eat, I have to produce on the baseball field. How do I produce? I keep that hunger of wanting to get better. Keep that hunger of learning from good outings the same way I learn from bad ones. Picking people's brains who have more experience than I do. A lot of the small things like that where they go a long way throughout the course of a career. I'm just getting started, and I don't plan on going nowhere.
Dude, let's go. All right, anybody listening and watching this, if they're, I'm sure everybody's pumped up by now, but if somebody's hasn't started a project or hasn't started reaching their goal or trying to get to their goal or pursuing their real dream, not the one that they think that is assigned to them, working 9 to 5, do all this other stuff. What's your piece of advice to them?
My piece of advice is keep going. Remember what your dream is, and every day you wake up, remember that dream. So for me, my dream was to be in the big leagues. That's gonna keep me. That kept me motivated. That kept me motivated through tough situations. Every day, I need to look back. I need to look back at my day and say, "Hey, what did I do to get a step closer to my dream?" If I could check a box off, I'm doing my job. Sooner or later, it's gonna pay off. but you have to be willing to really leave it all. I had to sacrifice a lot. And like I told you before, if I had to do it again, I would do it again. So for those people who feel like you're far away, you're not far away. You're around the corner. You're around the corner, and believe it.
I can't thank you enough for spending your time. And I know you got your family in the background. So everybody at home, we know how important and precious family time is as well. So I definitely truly appreciate everything in this last hour together. And I want everybody to be able to follow your journey. So where would you like everybody to go to follow you on social media so we can keep up with all your highlights, your off the field stuff, and your family life?
So my TikTok is Holy Cuas. Instagram is at Jose Cuas 28. But yeah, just read my story, and if anything, I'm reachable. Don't feel like, oh, this guy is a big leaguer. You're not accessible. I'm accessible. I respond to DMs. If you have a question, I try to get back to you in a timely manner to answer your question. Because what does it mean if I have this platform and I'm not using it? If kids feel like I'm not reachable, then it's useless.
Wow. Man, and how about that sweatshirt you're rocking right now? Is there anywhere that anybody could pick that up? I see that. Don't quit. I got to get you to keep swinging T too. You and Amir could wear it together at the stadium.
Yeah, to social media. Just DM me and I will get those shirts shipped out, or hoodies. We have shirts, hoodies, getting my brand out there.
I've been looking forward to this a long time, and there's a handful of guys who you can only dream about doing stuff like this with, and I've had similar excitement with like a Kenny Lofton and all of those guys, and I definitely felt that tonight. So thank you. I appreciate you, Jose.
Thank you for having me. Anything I can do, I'm here. I'm accessible.